So what else is useful about conscientiousness? Well, it's strongly related to life satisfaction and happiness. Actually, if you look at the big five, if you look at the traits that are most correlated within the big five, conscientiousness and neuroticism are negatively correlated. Make sure I got that right. The more conscientious you are, the less likely you are to suffer from anxiety and emotional pain. And I think the reason for that, but I don't know, but I think the reason for that is that by being conscientious, you stabilize your environment, right? Because everything becomes more predictable, more scheduled, more routine. You're more likely to be successful. So if things aren't going wrong around you all the time, then you're going to be less anxious and in less emotional pain. So I don't think that there's a direct relationship between being more conscientious and less neurotic, but I think there's one that's mediated by the environment. And this is very interesting, you see, because you'll hear all sorts of social psychologists tell you that conservatives are more likely to be high in negative emotion. They're more threat sensitive, say, than liberals. But the weird thing about that is that the conservatives are not higher in neuroticism than liberals. Actually, the contrary happens to be true. The liberals are slightly more neurotic than the conservatives. And so if conservatives are threat sensitive, because that's supposed to be the theory, then why the hell don't they show up as being higher in trait neuroticism? And you could say, well, they're so effective at their conservatism that they've reduced their neuroticism by organizing their environment. And to some degree that's true, but Jesus, if your theory predicts one thing and the opposite happens to be true, you can't just post hoc say, well, there's some other reasons we didn't pay any attention to account for that. Like, it's really bothered me because it does seem to be the case that the political landscape is shaped to some degree by some sort of negative emotion that's broadcast at the people who are on the other side of the political spectrum. But the evidence that it's anxiety related seems to be very, very thin. So the question is, well, what else might there be?